What up? It's the Reef Man. I was conceived when Bud Green smoked a mega blunt. And now I live in his consciousness as an omniscient being. Pretty fucking dope, right? Now if you don't mind, this is what we call a Reef Man rant. Alright, we're gonna bite off a little bit more than we can chew here, but today I plan to expose the industry of mental health as a whole in a way I did not find very possible until very recently. To begin, I recently stumbled across a thread on, Instagram threads, little FYI. At the time, the app just rage baits me into clicking on something from my Instagram. By no means is threads anywhere near an app I would consider a remotely good use of time. It's mostly garbage. But regardless, I came across a thread that stated something along the lines of, you don't need therapy, you just aren't using AI right. Obviously, as I stated in the last video, I've worked in the field of mental health. My response was, get the fuck out of here with that shit. That shit doesn't make any sense. But, alas, the idea sat in my mind for a while, kind of just stirring there, like a memory that you occasionally think of for a couple days, but then eventually leaves for an extended period of time. Lucky for me, that period did not come soon enough to veer me off course. One day, I decided to give this AI therapy a shot, figuring what's the worst that could happen. It's just a robot anyways, that human connection, you need it for therapy, It's just not there. But I did notice there was one glaring issue, and there's the fact that AI really had nothing to go off of. Just telling a robot about your shitty day only goes so far. Or how someone at work pissed you off, or that Marissa in accounting hasn't returned your Tinder DM yet, or that your mom just said the right thing to piss you right the fuck off that day. I imagine most people at some point in their lives have thought, maybe I should really fucking go to therapy, but pushed themselves into the common roadblocks associated with actually doing therapy. Roadblock 1. It is not cheap by any means. Like I said, I do the psychological testing for a private practice. It costs $1,200 without insurance to do a 3-hour session with me. And with insurance, it's still around $300. If anyone on this planet is paying $100 an hour to talk to me, they got other fucking problems. Roadblock 2. As a guy, that shit is low-key kinda sus. Being a dude's dude and a bro's bro most of my life, the thought of going to therapy, even in this very accepting 21st century, has always seemed like something for people who can't handle the problems like a quote-unquote man would. Which, obviously, having this opinion and attempting to work in a field where actually practicing therapy is inevitable in any form is highly fucking contradictory, and I understand that. But nonetheless, the thing can be true and false and still exist. Roadblock 3. It is extremely frequent for people, even after deciding to go to therapy, to shut down at the most crucial times in the breakthrough process, that their session does not reach its full potential, and that breakthrough period is missed. Now, by breakthrough period, what the fuck am I talking about? I mean the moment in time in which a client, patient, whatever you want to call them, is about to come to the conclusion the therapist saw very early on in the interactions. These breakthroughs can take weeks, months, even years before manifesting, and people's fears of being that vulnerable with a person hinders their ability to make that breakthrough, leading to more pointless therapy sessions and burning through hundreds if not thousands of dollars on future therapy sessions. All things that could have been avoided if you just break that wall down. But I understand it's hard to do that. No one wants to be seen going full psycho mode, especially not in front of this highly educated individual with a superiority complex. Hence the reason that aforementioned wall is put up. Like Robert Downey Jr. said in Tropic Thunder,
never go full retard.
So alas, this omniscient floating piece of marijuana, gives you step 1 of correctly using AI therapy. Begin a journal. Some of you can already see where I'm maybe going with this, and if that's the case, good for you. You're going to contribute to the real-life version of Blade Runner 2049.
You look lonely. I can fix that.
Now this journal could be for anything or any reason at all. If your thoughts become scrambled one day, write that shit down. If you have a great day, write that down. If some girl spilled hot soup on your crotch and tried to calm the burn using the nearest ice water, causing continuous shrinkage throughout the day, leading to an awkward blowjob later, write that shit down. Any intrusive, fucked up, maniacal, borderline schizophrenic, profound wisdom you can think of, write that shit down. And eventually, you'll end up with a collection of journal entries varying from the best days of your life to the absolute rock bottom worst. I personally have a journal I've been working on since about mid-August of 2024. That's about 25,000 words as of recording this video. And that may not seem like a lot to someone who has written in a journal since they were 12, or it may seem like a lot to a person thinking about starting a journal after this video. Regardless, good amount of my thoughts in there. Shit I would, definitely prefer to keep to myself. But what do you do with this hodgepodge collection of your stream of consciousness, as it's called in beat literature? Behold, step 2 of the AI therapy. Copy and paste that shit in there. Pretty simple. Ask your preferred AI, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever the fuck works, to give a summary of, quote-unquote, an author's passage or journal. I like to act like it isn't mine, or it feels like the AI would kind of cater too much to my human needs, which, going back to Blade Runner, is a fucked up thing to say, but I swear to God it works like a charm. After giving its brief summary of an author's passage, it'll begin to give you an idea of what is going on in, quote-unquote, his journal. Common themes, repetitive narratives, even names you use in the journal will contribute to the overall summary. And if you're actually doing a good job of keeping a detailed journal every once in a while, you can move on to step 3. In the name that all is holy, I give you step 3 of AI therapy. Use AI to pick apart your own thoughts. Now here's where shit actually starts to make sense. The first question I asked DeepSeek after I had it summarize its contents was, quote-unquote, so what do you think is actually going on in the author's mind? Its answer, copied and pasted straight from my browser, was this. At its core, the author's mind is a battleground between self-doubt and self-belief, between the desire for connection and the fear of vulnerability, and between the longing for change and the fear of unknown. They are deeply introspective and self-aware, but this self-awareness sometimes traps them in cycles of overthinking and rumination. They are searching for meaning, purpose, and validation, but they struggle to find these things in a world they perceive as flawed and unforgiving. The author is also caught between past and future. They are haunted by past mistakes and missed opportunities, but they are also paralyzed by the uncertainty of the future. This tension makes it difficult for them to fully live in the present or take concrete steps towards their goals. Ultimately, the author is in a transitional phase of life, grappling with the challenges of adulthood, identity formation, and finding their place in the world. While they are struggling, their resilience, creativity, and intellectual curiosity suggests that they have the potential to overcome these challenges and find a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Now, if many of you aren't aware, that's an answer that would take fucking years, if you would ever get to that fucking answer, with a therapist. And that was the second question I asked.
I don't respect therapy because I'm a scientist.
From there, you can ask whatever you like. You think your family's fucked up? Type in, give me an analysis on the author's family. Is your girlfriend Tammy a fucking whore bitch? Explain the significance and role of Tammy in the eyes of the author. Are your friends fucking snakes in the grass? Do you think the author's friends benefit them or hinder their progress? Those are just examples. I got good friends, but I imagine your girlfriend Tammy is a fucking whore bitch. Now, the hardest part, which is also the hardest part of real therapy anyways, so who gives a shit? Finally, step 4 of AI therapy. Figure out how to incorporate this insight into your life. This has always been the most difficult part of therapy. Many people walk into therapy in mental shambles, feel better with about 15 minutes left of the session, then leave wishing they could just go back to their therapist and have them keep explaining how to fix their lives. It's addicting. You develop an attachment. It's a phenomenon the great psychologists of the earliest 20th century marveled at. That placement of the therapist as the mother/father figure. You know what you can't develop a sense of attachment to? A fucking robot. But wait, Reef Man, what about the aspect of human connection? Humans are social animals, they need that connection. Calm down, little ones. In that regard, you are absolutely right. Let me ask you this. Do you currently, at this very moment, have any meaningful human connections in which you pay for that connection? If my mom was slinging around $20 bills to kids in the playground to be friends with me, I would not fuck with those kids in the first place. So yes, the aspect of human connection is essential in the process of truly dispelling periods of serious mental illness. Trust me, I'm not the guy proposing we all start to use AI to fix our fucking psyches. That's insane. But I'm the guy who can tell you, if you aren't in complete utter shambles, instead of me robbing you of $100 an hour to talk to some jackass who talks into a microphone with his voice physically embodied by a floating piece of marijuana, maybe give this process a shot. Worst comes to worst, you'll get in the habit of starting a journal, and that's not a bad habit by any means. The AI will at least help you put your thoughts into order, which can be half the battle much of the time. Don't just go asking ChatGPT to help you with your depression. Make it understand your depression. It's an insanely pragmatic tool, almost godlike. You think some motherfucker who went to school for 2 more years can touch that shit? Maybe, maybe not. What do I know? I'm a fucking plant. I asked DeepSeek for one final word of advice, using literally only one word, to give to the author as a final statement. That word? Breathe. Reef man, fuck is this bullshit? Peace the fuck out.